This is Star Wars Rebels Alert, the weekly podcast after show where we recap and discuss each and every episode of Star Wars Rebels Season 3. I'm one of your hosts, Tim.
I'm Troy.
Right off the top here, we want to extend our thanks to everyone that's been tuning in, both here on iTunes and Podbean, as well as over at our YouTube page.
Yeah, big shout out to all you guys. It's been great. You know, the feedback's been awesome. The conversations, I love it on both pages there. So keep up the good stuff, guys.
So you always can get us at swrebelsalert@gmail.com or hit us up on Twitter at swrebelsalert. And we're happy to hear your predictions, your thoughts, both on the episode as well as what's going on in the larger Star Wars universe as well. And we're happy to read those comments out here online and have a bit of a conversation with the listeners. So,
looking forward to it.
Enough of that. Let's get into it. Episode 4 of Rebels Season 3, titled Hera's Heroes. Mm-hmm. What are your initial thoughts coming into this? Leaving an episode last week that we thought was a bit, not so much a lull, but a dip in intensity coming into this. Were you expecting a big episode, or were you looking at maybe expanding a bit more on the Ghost Crew that we are seeing in this episode?
Yeah, you know, I thought this might have been like the filler episode, because I know the last episode wasn't so much, and I thought, okay, well, this one for sure is going to be. But then, you know, we got Cham and we got Hera, right?
Yeah.
So this is really cool because we did see Cham last time in Season 2, but it's kind of funny because that character portrayal was a lot different than Lords of the Sith Cham, and he's like the main protagonist in that book, right? So this time around, you know, they nailed the character. He's far better, and all around enjoyed it. Yeah, definitely really, not a filler.
No, yeah. I'm really enjoying this presence of the different characters that we're getting and pulling right through from Clone Wars, right?
Yes.
And we do see some references to Clone Wars later on in this episode as well. Mm-hmm. And we kick it off again with a nice battle here, and we get the Scout Trooper chasing Champ and another Twi'lek. I absolutely love the sound of the speeder bike. It's straight out of Return of the Jedi.
Right? I love that. It's great. The animation, too.
Yeah.
Holy.
Fantastic. And this might be one of our earlier appearances of the Scout Trooper in the Star Wars canon now. And which is pretty cool to see that they continue to integrate the original trilogy characters, the armors, the vehicles and all that into Star Wars Rebels here. So you're really, you know, hitting home here that we're really close to the original trilogy here, and they're tying in so well.
Yeah, you get that feel of A New Hope, obviously, and even now more so Rogue One almost.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. And I really like the troop transport they had in the back, the thing that was hovering behind the two speeder bikes.
Yeah.
So that's a reused and repurposed vehicle that was originally designed by Kenner, I believe, for the vintage line. And it has a kind of funny look. It was originally designed that it had these 6 slots, I believe, on the side where you stuck the Imperial Stormtroopers in. And they repurposed that. And I believe this was in an earlier episode, either in Season 1 or Season 2. So this is not the first time we're seeing this.
Cool.
But I like the callback here that they're reusing these concepts and reusing even toy concepts from the early days of action figures.
So we could get a Black Series, maybe.
Oh, that would,
Hasbro.
or even just a 3 3/4 inch. Yeah. Love it.
Awesome.
I really do think they might already have that out.
Okay.
Yeah, on the Star Wars Rebels line.
Nice.
So, and we're immediately thrusted into this battle, and we're on Ryloth here.
Yes.
And we get Hera, and we get the whole Ghost Crew here participating and helping Syndulla here come out on the other side of this as he's being chased. Because if it weren't for their poor shooting, they would all be dead. These guys could not hit anything.
And I love how they kept it consistent with going back to Season 1 and 2, that, you know, the Imperial Guards, the Stormtroopers just can't shoot.
No.
Yeah.
It's awesome. And it's nice to see all these characters coming back. I like the callbacks to Season 2 here, that we're, again, seeing characters that we're familiar with, but that aren't part of the main cast on Star Wars Rebels here.
Exactly. And a couple of these guys do debut, well, I guess you could say the Clone Wars, but also Lords of the Sith.
Yeah.
So we see some of these characters coming back. So it's really cool that we get to see, you know, the novelization being brought to life in the cartoons, right?
And that's a big thing that we're really enjoying here. And just a quick side note, we picked up the Ahsoka book.
Yes.
And we're listening to it on Audible, both of us. And I think we're about halfway through.
Yeah.
So I'm really enjoying this book so far, but it's not exactly what we thought it was going to be. When we initially heard what this book was going to be, and even from New York Comic Con, they're talking about the idea, the concept of this book expanding more on the timeline between Order 66 and Ahsoka's Rebels appearance. And it's not exactly that, at least the part of the book that we have read. It's more of an individualized story with very few characters. But and Troy said this best, I think, it's very narratively driven.
Yes.
And we're getting a lot of focus on Ahsoka, but not really expanding too much on what's going on in the greater Star Wars universe. There's not many characters in the book. Mm-hmm. But it's definitely worth a listen, I think. And again, I'm a big proponent here of audiobooks for this type of listening, this type of reading, because not only the complexity in characters, but you get a real feel for the individuals that are in this because they do different voices. And you can really grasp what's going on, I think, a lot better than I can, at least in my mind. I find that they paint a really good picture, and it's also the voice actor that does Ahsoka.
Right, so that's a bonus.
Yes.
Right, and you get the name pronunciations as well, of course, right?
Yes.
So yeah, it's a pretty great book so far. It's not, I mean, I'm not done the book, obviously, neither are you, so I can't really rank it between, you know, the other novels that I've read. It's a really cool opener, though, where it sets the tone with Darth Maul's appearance.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
So it's playing it right from the Clone Wars there.
Right.
Sorry about the side tangent. Just had to get that out there. I thought because it does integrate so well into Star Wars Rebels, and because we had talked about it before, I thought it was good to discuss that and give you guys at least a little impression as to what the book actually is. So if you're, again, sitting on the fence or not, maybe you can go one way or another. But I would definitely check it out. It does build the lore around Ahsoka, and I think as we get further into the book, there's still, again, another 20 chapters, I think, yet.
For sure. I think it's definitely worth a read, too, just because, you know, if you're watching Rebels, obviously, like you are, and you're a fan of the Clone Wars, you owe it to yourself to read this book. There's a lot of callbacks to all that.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And stepping back into the episode now.
Yes.
After we have Syndulla saved by the Ghost Crew here, we have a nice exchange with Zeb and Ezra. I really like the idea that they're getting a lot of this kind of brotherly love going on.
It's growing.
Yes, and we have the scout trooper who finds himself onto the ghost ship, and Zeb asks him, do you have this uniform yet? Do you have this armor yet? And Ezra just casually, no, not yet. And this plays into the episode further, but I really like the idea that Ezra is collecting the different armors and helmets from the different Imperial Stormtroopers.
I love it. And another callback to A New Hope, you know, with Han and Luke taking on the costumes.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
I love that. And so this is really when we get the MacGuffin of the episode revealed here, and it turns out to be this Kalikori, which is this family heirloom, this living form of art that's passed on from generation to generation, and this is something that means everything to Hera.
Yes.
And it also seeds this idea, or the theme that's kind of strung through this episode, of family.
Yes.
And that's brought up a lot. And I think as we discuss a bit more with Thrawn, we're going to see how he's starting to use that to his advantage and sees it more of a weakness, whereas our crew, the Ghost Crew, and the Rebellion itself see it as more of a strength. So it's revealed that Syndulla's lost, basically, at least the Tan province they referred to on Ryloth, to the Imperials. So it's completely occupied at this point.
Yes.
He's been fighting since the Clone Wars, basically.
Well, yeah, and then you go back to Lords of the Sith, right? That's a huge thing going on there, that they basically lost everything to the Empire. So go out and check that book.
Yes. Yeah. Again, it's great to see that almost every episode that we've watched has some sort of callback to something that's found in the literature of Star Wars.
That's right, like last episode, Wedge and Aftermath and all that kind of stuff, right? And then now we have Lords of the Sith and you have Clone Wars. So all these strings are being pulled and attached to just make one big universe.
And it makes it that much more meaningful, that having that understanding, and you can appreciate the universe a lot more with all the books and the comics and all that, and the callbacks that they're doing, they're putting the effort into it. And that's something that we continually talk about, is the effort that the writers, the producers are putting into tying all this together to have Rebels be the glue that holds this whole universe together, I think.
Yeah, definitely agree.
And one interesting thing that Syndulla does mention here is the difference in attack from the captain before, that he said that he kind of understood, he was very sloppy, to now what led to the essentially their province being overrun by Imperials was this swift attack. It was something different. He underestimated the change in the captain's strategy here. And right away there is the first indication, at least for me, I didn't watch any of the teasers, that, okay, Thrawn's coming into this episode. That's a very much a Thrawn call to.
Right. Which is cool, because it's kind of a battle of tacticians, because going back to Lords of the Sith, Syndulla is such a prime leader, right? Not physically, but with his strategic plans. And here you have Thrawn as well, who's even more so of a master planner himself. So it's really cool that you have these two kind of going at it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I think they oppose each other very well.
Yes.
The plan is devised by the Rebels, by the Ghost Crew here, to send in Hera with Ezra's help in the Scout Trooper outfit to actually go and collect this Kalikori. Now, this is something that's a bit different from Hera. This is more of a personal mission. Right?
Yeah.
This isn't for the greater rebellion, which is usually what she directs herself to, right?
Yeah, a little out of character, I thought, making that move for her.
Yeah,
right?
And I think it's weighing a little bit on the fact that it has a lot to do with her mother, right? And she was very upset by the idea that the whole province had been taken over by the Imperials, something that they'd been fighting for her whole life, which is mentioned by Thrawn, is that you've been forged by battle, forged by war.
Right. And he appreciates that.
Yes.
Which is so Thrawn.
It is. And we talk about this every week, is these landscape views. Again, we had at the start of the episode here, and when we get the landscape view of Ryloth, of the Tan province where Hera grew up, it's really nice. absolutely love these splash pages, and
Yes.
coming with the transitions as well.
Oh, yeah.
Again, hitting on this dark note, we have the other part of the Ghost Crew that had not gone with Ezra and Hera. They're sent out to perform some sort of distraction, right? And it's interesting, when they threw the first bomb at the stormtroopers, you see a stormtrooper get hit and blow up.
Yeah.
And the first thing I can think of again is like, yes, they are really emphasizing that this is slightly different. This is a much darker take
really
on the
is.
Rebels universe, right?
Yeah. They're going that route. They've made it very clear now.
Yes, they have. And what did you think of this crashed Y-Wing and this callback again to the Clone Wars and seeding a bit of the idea of Chopper's backstory?
I love that. This is cool because, we've really gone away from the Jedi these last couple of episodes. So, you're getting Chopper, you're getting Hera, and you're getting Thrawn. It's I just like what they did there. So, kind of leaves it open of what this history's gone on with this droid and this Y-Wing, right?
It's an interesting call back to the season premiere where Chopper was basically afraid or refusing to get into one of the Y-Wings.
Yeah.
And it's explained a bit better here where Hera's the one that pulled him out of that crashed Y-Wing.
Right.
That Champs has left there for a memorial to remind everyone about the Clone Wars, right?
That's right.
And it's a great callback. I absolutely just, when I saw that, I was like, and when they start talking about the Clone Wars and they remember the past that's set before them, right?
Yeah.
Which is a lot different than we do see with some of the other cinematic universes that are being built, right?
Yeah, great callback.
And this is when I think the intensity of the episode really picks up.
Yes.
We have Ezra and Hera go and get the Calicori almost too easily. I'm thinking to myself, they can went in there and they acquired this item, this MacGuffin for this episode really quickly. Like, what's going to happen next?
Yeah.
And then enters Thrawn.
Oh, when she walks into him, right?
Yes.
Terrified. And who is this character? Because these guys have never encountered Thrawn yet.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's an interesting take because Ezra says, who's the blue guy?
Yes.
When they kind of saw him before. And what's interesting about that is that he doesn't have a reputation amongst the rebellion yet, right? So that shows that his progression through the Imperial ranks has been either very quiet and subtle, or it's been so rapid that they just haven't had the chance to actually experience this guy, right? And even with the Thrawn books, I don't remember quite, because it was a long time ago when I read them, if his reputation preceded him almost.
Okay.
I think it was much more of a subtle reputation that he kind of came out of nowhere. And this is one of my favorite scenes of the episode. This is where we have Hera being interrogated by Thrawn. And it's interesting that they've put another Imperial officer, the captain, in there that is essentially there to show how much smarter Thrawn is than the average Imperial, right? And this is really where they show his power. And people might call this a filler episode, but I think this is a necessary episode to explain to people who aren't familiar with Thrawn what Thrawn is about.
Yeah.
I didn't want this to be something that's drawn out over 5 or 6 episodes where you get just these brief glimpses into Thrawn's thought process, into who he is as a tactician and who he is as a warrior.
That's right. He's far superior. And I also think it's Dave Filoni saying, don't worry, guys, for all you longtime fans, this is the Thrawn that you got out of the books. Like, we're not changing his character too much. This is who he's going to be from the books, right? So it makes it that much more promising.
Yeah, and we have the score turning here to Thrawn's theme, which I absolutely love.
Love it, right?
Yeah. Do you think that he put this plan into motion on purpose? The idea with the Calicori, because he talks about knowing and understanding your enemy's art, their philosophy, their culture.
Right.
And the way he kind of turns this around on Hera when he's interrogating her, is you almost get the idea that he put this plan into motion on purpose. He wanted to understand the Ghost Crew more, particularly Hera, and so he put this into effect. Because, before, when we got our first introduction to Thrawn there, he's talking about increasing security in the palace that they're in, right? So I always get this idea that he's got this plan in motion, and everything that he's anticipated the rebels will do, they are doing.
That's right. Like, kind of just testing them, right?
Yeah.
And then seeing what they pull on and what they bite on. So I definitely think he, orchestrated the whole thing.
Yeah, it just gave me chills when he starts talking, and the voice acting's fantastic. The animation is great.
It's great, and the scene, probably my favorite scene is when he calls out the Imperial Guard, and he rages. He loses his composure, and he comes back and apologizes. Right? I love that scene.
Yeah.
I thought it was so good.
It's a small glimpse into maybe one of the little flaws in the character.
Right.
Is that he's so calculated and so methodical, but then he does have those moments where he does snap, right?
Because he's so far beyond these guys, so he kind of has to bring himself down a little bit and be like, wait a second, you're just not on my level. Let me calm down here and bring things back. Just love it. And like you said, the voice acting, Nicholson's brother, I believe, actually does just great work. Actually, all the voice actors throughout this whole show. Yeah. Incredible.
Yeah, he just nails Thrawn here.
Yeah.
And he does take the Calicori. So this is a big point in the Thrawn books from the original trilogy, is that he does have his office, he takes art, he takes culture, and he has that put up around him. So it's part of, if you remember in Bloodlines, it's very similar, not so much as far as he's collecting artifacts of the Empire, but he's taking artifacts of culture to help understand his enemies, and they're set up around his office in the books.
They're very similar, which drove Leia not too happy.
Yes. It's interesting because when he exits this scene, he reveals that who Hera is, and that they have them. They're going to use this as basically a bargaining chip to get Champ Syndulla to come in and bring in the rest of the rebels that actually capture them. And he reveals that he has to leave now because he has an experiment he has to attend to and watch. And I think he's referring to this idea, this experiment of what are the rebels going to do next?
Right.
What's the next step? And there's a lot of this idea that we saw in the season premiere, and we see it at the end of this episode, where he essentially lets the rebels win.
Yes.
He takes a very small loss, probably for a bigger gain. Do you think they're going to go down the lines of having this continue, or is he going to have some smaller victories or bigger victories, or is it going to be this continued kind of stay and wait, and then a massive victory?
I think it's a massive victory. I think he's playing the long game, right? Because if you think about it, like, he had Ezra, a Jedi, right there. Like, that's a huge trophy right there to take out a Jedi, and he didn't. He let that Jedi go. He let Hera go. So I think he's in it for the long game, and he wants that big victory. He wants to take down the whole rebellion.
Yes, it's not about an individual anymore. Whereas when you look at Vader and the Inquisitors, they're chasing those 6 individuals, right? Or even just the 2 of them.
Right.
They're the Force Dwellers, Ezra and Kanan. And this is much bigger. And he's seeing that bigger picture. And that's almost the first time that we're seeing this grander scale on the show, right?
Yes.
It's so focused around that small rebel cell that's now grown into the Phoenix cell.
Right.
But Thrawn is the first one to take them as the credible threat that they are.
Right.
But he doesn't just want to kill Ezra and Kanan. Like, I don't know if he really even cares that much about them. It's about the larger cause that is brewing up in the background here, right?
It just makes him such a great villain, too, because he really respects and admires his enemies, right? As opposed to he just wants to defeat them for the sake of being the bad guy. Yeah.
And then again comes back to when he's talking to Hera and says she was forged by war where he had to learn it.
Yes.
And so there's that mutual respect there.
Right.
That they have. Well, not so much from Hera's end, but from Thrawn's
on his end. Absolutely. Yeah.
And this prisoner transfer scene, again, it's a small supplement where we get a little bit of action in the episode here, similar to what we got at the start. And it's cool to see the explosions happening and kind of the plan come to fruition. And we get Kanan doing a sweet force.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
Changing the direction of the rockets.
Yeah, I love that. And very calm and cool collective how Kanan comes in. Did you think Syndulla was going to bite it? No, without a doubt, you thought? Or
I thought he was going down. I thought this would be the appropriate time to do this. This shows a bit of, again, more who Thrawn is, being a bit more relentless, and taking someone that's super important, as well as someone that's been super important for the rebellion to a degree, right?
Exactly. That's why I think it would have been pretty honorable for him to go out that way, losing to Thrawn.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
And so I don't know what they're going to do now. So Ryloth is basically lost.
Yeah, it's been lost.
Syndulla's off-world now, and I don't know if he's going to go back, because he's someone that's been entrenched in that, right?
Oh, yeah.
He refused to leave.
Right.
His people. He's fighting for his people. It's been the blockade for seasons now.
Yeah, he goes deep with that planet. Absolutely.
So I agree. I think that would have been the way to go, is to have him honorably die. And I don't know, do you have him honorably die in the name of Hera to save Hera?
Right.
Is that the way that he should have went? And maybe a little bit of a missed opportunity there, I think.
Maybe. Yeah. Or maybe it'll be Vader ultimately, because they encounter each other in the book. I mean, somebody has to bite it this season. They have to slowly start picking off some of these rebels.
Yeah, and they have to start to see the consequences of this growing empire, right? And of Thrawn. We can't have Thrawn here and just have him killing faceless rebels.
Exactly.
And we need to feel some impact from this character, and we may get that down the line. But I do agree with you. This would have been a great opportunity to actually feel some impact of what's going to happen in the rest of the season. Because we have to get to a point here, too, where, yes, we're building the alliance, but we need to see them have some major setbacks.
Yes.
Coming
apart from ships.
Exactly. It has to be personnel, right? Because some of these characters, again, they're not present in World 1. Well, we don't know that yet. But they're not in the original trilogy. And what's going to happen with these characters going forward? Because we have a lot of characters that are now, really loved by the fan base.
Yeah.
But we have to start seeing the consequences of this empire, the growth of it, and Thrawn.
Definitely agree. Yep.
Touching back on the theme of the episode here, family.
Yes.
And I think as Thrawn, as they fly away here, and I think what is really going on here is he's now understanding this family concept.
Right.
And I think it's what he sees as their greatest weakness, and then we see them at the end of the episode talking about, this is my family. We see this nice pan over to the ghost crew, kind of being playful.
Yeah.
She's got the other Twi'leks there.
Yeah.
And they cheers to basically family.
Right.
And I think that's what Thrawn is going to use. He used it in the episode to bring Syndulla in. He used Hera. And we've seen this throughout the other episodes too, using the ghost crew. Maul used it.
Yes.
Right? As a bargaining chip to get Kanan and Ezra to come in with the Sith holocron.
That's right.
And so this is turning out to be one of their big weaknesses, is how tight they are. And
Exactly.
I think we're going to see that used further down the road by Thrawn. This is what he seems to at least be investigating when he says he's going to walk away to go watch an experiment. He wanted to see what happened from a distance.
Yeah.
And he just lets them go.
That's right. Just testing the waters constantly.
Yes. They earned their victory. Let them have it, is what he says, right?
Yeah.
They could have picked them out of the sky, and that could have been the end of the ghost crew, right?
Exactly.
But again, it comes back to this concept. It's the bigger picture.
Yes. Always with Thrawn.
So overall, what did you think of this episode? Do you think it's a filler?
No, definitely not. After watching this, I think they covered a lot of ground in this episode. I actually enjoyed this more than the last episode. It's not quite on par with the season premiere, but that was a great, jam-packed episode. So I put this number 2 so far in this season.
Nice.
I'd like to see how long they can continue this thread without any fillers.
Yeah.
And overall, I'm enjoying this season. It's my favorite season so far. Yeah.
I have to fully agree with you there. I do not think it's a filler episode either. I think, again, it's one of these necessary episodes that helps us progress numerous characters here. We get Hera progressing here.
Yeah.
We get big Thrawn stuff here, which I think we need. Like I said at the top of the episode, we needed this episode to understand Thrawn more.
Oh, yeah.
Because if you have these little bits and pieces, it gets difficult to understand how this character is calculating and how he's motivated.
Yeah.
Now we know.
Exactly.
But now going forward, I think we need to have a big action episode coming up here.
I think so. I think we have to get there now.
Yeah, we've kind of lulled here in the action. We do get those small bits and pieces of action throughout the episode, but we need something big, a big space battle or something to come down.
Right. Yeah, absolutely agree. And, they touched on Chopper even more so, too. So, overall, they covered a lot of characters this episode, right?
I think we're going to get probably another couple episodes here, whether it's immediately or not, where we focus, again, maybe a little more on Sabine, a little more on Zeb, and understanding a bit more of the backstory, kind of developing these characters more. I think we're going to get we have a couple big episodes, and then we have a few episodes that slow down the pace a bit and help us understand and develop our characters a bit more.
That's right. Really hoping we get some more Rex. I miss Rex.
Yes, he hasn't been in this very much, eh?
No, not really. And I really hope, especially reading Ahsoka, not spoiling anything, they touch on that character a little bit. They mention him, right?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, again, another exciting episode. Really digging this season.
Yeah.
And I think that we're in for, a treat here. I'm really interested to see if they do go into Rogue One territory once we come out the other side of December.
Oh, man, because that trailer did just drop.
Yes. We're not going to discuss that here. If you want to hear us discuss a little bit about it. Now, I haven't watched it. I'm not a big watcher of trailers past the teaser trailer. I try to keep the movie experience in the theater for me.
And I salute you for that.
It's very difficult to do when everyone is freaking out about it online. But if you'd like to catch some of our talk on that and other nerd-related things, we're going to be doing a big comic book wrap-up episode discussing Darth Vader 25, the end of the Darth Vader series from Marvel, at least the current one. There's also a Dr. Aphra series that's picking up, who's a character that was introduced in that.
Yeah.
We're going to be talking about that and all of the news from this past week on our flagship show, The Nerd Room, that drops this Thursday on the same feed that you are listening to right now.
That's right. Lots to cover, guys, so stay tuned. Any weaknesses? Anything small from this episode that you didn't necessarily agree with?
No, I think overall it was a pretty strong episode. There's nothing in here that I really didn't like. I watched it twice.
Yeah.
I usually watch it kind of once taking notes and then once again just to get a good feel for the flow of the episode.
Nice.
I'm at a point now where I need a big action episode.
Okay.
I need something that, yes, I really enjoy these developmental episodes, but again, I need some of that Star Wars action here.
Yeah.
I want to see Wedge flying around destroying some TIE fighters or something like that.
Yeah, I know. I want to see some Wedge. I want to see some Maul. Overall, no, I did like it. I'm really glad they redeemed Syndulla. Yeah. Maybe my only little weakness was Hera's motivation for the mission, but it totally makes sense to give us what they gave us in this episode. So
yeah. And you need that MacGuffin to show how Thrawn is focused on culture, art, and all that.
Exactly. Yeah, the payoff was great.
Yeah.
So.
All right, guys, we are going to be back next week to discuss Episode 5 of Star Wars Rebels Season 3, titled The Last Battle.
Well, sounds like someone's going to bite it.
Yes, that could be exciting. This takes us through to the end of October, and this takes us through the end of the episodes that have been revealed to my knowledge right now, at least the titles.
That's right, and that keeps our hunger on the low for now until we get Rogue One, at least.
Yes. All right, guys, this is Star Wars Rebels Alert signing off. I'm Tim.
I'm Troy.